I just want to show you guys something really quick. Earlier, I tried to load this, and of course, TikTok took it down. They don't want this information out, and I'm going to show you what's going on whenever we put anything related to Jesus. But this was an old interview that came out a while ago with scientists and archaeologist who was an atheist in the beginning of his career, Ron Wyatt. And this is what they had to say. I'm gonna play it here. It's on YouTube, but because they have muted the video.
Now,
so
we
listen
won't
carefully.
be able to take second questions. I'm sorry if you're on your second one. Please just step out. I love you, but we're running out of time. Real quickly, okay? Dried blood is dead blood. Everybody knows that, all right? They can test the blood of the pharaohs, the mummies of the pharaohs, all right? There's certain things they can do. They cannot get a chromosome count by any method I'm familiar with, all right? Things keep changing. I don't profess to know everything. However, there's no way I know that you can get a chromosome count out of dead blood. You can get a DNA and some other things, but not a chromosome count, all right? That's done by living white blood cells. Now then, first of all, in this analysis, I took the blood into a laboratory in Israel. I asked one of the people I work with in antiquities, where is a good laboratory that does reliable work? And they said, such and such, such and such. I took it. I just said, please examine this blood. And
so him taking this to a lab in Israel, somewhere in Israel, knowing that obviously they're Jewish, and a lot of Jewish people are non-believers, and also a lot of the people that are in the science world, tons of them, not all of them, not going to generalize because it wouldn't be fair, but a lot of them they don't believe in Jesus Christ, or they have a different faith, and so forth and so on.
And tell me what you can tell me about it, all right? They said, well, look, we're going to reconstitute it. We're going to put it in normal saline and keep it at body temperature for 72 hours with gentle swirling. All right, that's their business. That's great. I said, now I want to be there when you check it out. They said, fine. So I was back. They checked it out. I said, now, they said it's human blood. We can tell that. They did whatever tests they need to do. And then I said, take some of the white blood cells and put them in a growth medium and keep them at body temperature for 48 hours. And they said, well, that'll do no good because it's dead blood. I said, would you please do that for me? And they said, okay, we'll do it. So anyway, I said, I want to be there when you take it out and examine it. So I was back there. They took it out, examined it under a microscope, and the one technician called the other one.
Now, there's a reason why he's pausing and saying this. It's because, like any other artifacts that we have found over the decades, out of the hundreds and hundreds of years in the Catholic Church, that's related to Jesus, or biblical evidence of God and his divinity, or anything related to Mary, or every time they don't want this information out. They don't want this information out. They discredit. They find a reason to discredit. They want to say all types of things. Now, this is someone that did not believe at some point. And he knows that, one, he's dealing with people that don't know what this sample is from or who it is. So he's making sure to cover him as a professional and saying, I want to be there when you start doing this, because I don't want them to say that this isn't true or that this is invalid information, because hundreds of other scientists and archaeologists have been down this road before, and up until the minute where they are part of a different religion or cult and they don't believe in Jesus Christ, The media let them fly, and the media let them say whatever they want. The minute that they claim to believe Jesus Christ, they have a problem with it. So this is the part that it's like essential, because everyone that believes in Jesus Christ is going to be persecuted, is going to be mocked, is going to be made fun of. Anything that you say, or if you say you've had a dream about God, or a vision of Mary or something, they always try to put a blockage to that. Why? Because Satan is the prince of this world. We know that Jesus Christ is going to win. Yes, we know our reward is coming from Christ. But for now, they don't want the truth out. So they are going to do absolutely everything. They're going to distort the truth. They're going to go after the people that talk about Jesus Christ. They're going to discredit Mary. They're going to call her every name on the book. Like I've heard tons of people, Christians, please pay attention. Put yourself in this position. When you face God, knowing that God himself chose Mary, that the angel Gabriel bowed to her and paid reverence to her, be careful what you say when you say that she is demonic or she is not the mother of God. She is the mother of God, and I'm going to show you. Hang on.
One over there, and then they called the boss over there, and they were talking Hebrew a mile a minute there for a little bit, and they looked at me and they said, Mr. Wyatt, this human blood only has 24 chromosomes in it. Everybody else has 46. You see, 23 from your mother, 23 from your father, 22 autosomes from your mother, 22 autosomes from your father. You get an X from your mother, you may get an X or a Y from your father, all right? This blood had 23 chromosomes from the mother's side, one Y chromosome only. You see, the child could not have developed if they hadn't had the autosomes from the mother. So all of his physical characteristics were determined by his mother's side of the family, her autosomes. His maleness was determined by this one Y that came from a source, not a human male. Then they said, this blood is alive. And then they said, whose blood is this? I said, it's the blood of your Messiah.
All right, so this video is on YouTube. You guys can go ahead and watch that video whenever you guys have the time. I'm just going to go ahead and put on this other extraordinary Eucharistic miracles, because we've seen tons of those. These are all locations of places where they have witnessed the Eucharistic miracle as well. Now, a lot of you guys who are Christians have a very hard time believing in the Holy Eucharist, when that is something that happened multiple times, not only during Pentecost. Peter did it after. In Philippians, you see it again. There are tons of passages in the Bible that mentions the Eucharistic miracles. But so before we proceed, let me just read this to you guys. On that video, the discovery will probably never make it into the mainstream media of the world, as the discovery met with strong resistance from higher powers. What strong resistance? What higher power are they talking about? And this is why I mentioned that this world and this war that we're in right now, it's solely spiritual. This has nothing to do with anything else other than spirituality, and we should be very, very, very careful with what we go about things, how we go about things, because it is very spiritual. If everything that's huge comes out in the media, why wouldn't this huge information be in the media? As the discovery met with strong resistance from higher powers. And unfortunately, few people know about it. Therefore, I suggest that you share this clip with friends, spread the word. Jesus lives. So then he's talking about how he discovered the Art of the Covenant, and it was very unexpected when he discovered this. Prior to that, like I said, you guys can look into him, how he got into going into archaeology and looking up things related to Jesus and everything like that. And then the DNA analysis happened. A Christian channel apparently talked about this, but nobody else said anything about it. And the discovery, he said that the blood contained 23 chromosomes from Mother Mary and 1 normal chromosome from the Father God. So when us Catholics say that Jesus is God, this is why. Because in the discovery of the Ark of the Covenant, along with the Bible and everything that says there, me and the Father are one, I and the Father was one, I created him, and all the other Revelations 8 and all the other quotes and everything that's in the Bible, Jesus was made inside, of Mary's stomach, was formed actually inside of Mary's stomach and came to earth in flesh to tell us about God, about the kingdom of God, to tell us about what's ahead, what's to come. So in the many samples that they found is the Shroud of Turin, the Veil of Veronica, and they all found this in the archaeology site for the crucifixion. So all of this information is online. Like us Catholics are not getting this up or finding this up. It's information that's obvious. We still have the internet, we still have Google, we still have the library. Do a little research. Get out of the bubble that you've been taught your entire life. And don't get me wrong, I know there are tons of things wrong with any denomination, or I'm very aware of that. We are supposed to pray for these people, that they truly become leaders of God, and that they truly start delivering the message that is love our brothers, love our neighbors, and speak the word of Jesus Christ, so we can convince those that do not believe, that we can talk to those that do not understand the love of Jesus, because time is ticking. Anyway, so the first step towards this was the appearance where he did this, where he took photographs of things in the beginning of the 20th century. And then there was another French professor who was studying anatomy, also, who published a study on the subject in 1902. He declared the image to be, exactly like what would happen to Jesus. And then another guy, William, mentioned this again in the years 1936 and 1981. And they agreed with the French guy, they agreed with the other guy. Like all of these people, they all have the same understanding of science and how it works and DNA studies. These are different people. And like I said, if you go back and you look up these people and how they started and their personal bio, tons of them were atheists. Tons of them were non-believers. So that's what you have to go into. You got to look outside of what you were taught. A lot of the times, our parents come from backgrounds that are, cultural and stuff, and they need to also get out of this idea that, these things are impossible, or that we're not fighting a spiritual war, because we are. So, and then another 11 members of another commission went again to test the relics and specify, and again, turned out it was true. And then it wasn't until 1973 there were another samples tested. Like, you guys, this information is online. It's very easy to find. And let's look at other evidence that we still have this problem today. And I completely understand why sometimes people are hesitant to to find and to believe these things, because unfortunately we do have Satan working extra hard to try to discredit anything that's related to Jesus and the Holy Eucharist. And when God said, "This is my body," he meant, this is my body. This is my body. This is my blood. Take it and remember me. Take it and remember what I'm dealing with right now. Because what I'm doing, it's not in vain. Not once in the Bible did he said, take it, oh, this is a pretend bread, or this is a host, or this is a cracker. No, not once did he say that. And I cannot tell you how many times I've had people come in the page and say the worst things, saying that it's just a cracker. So let's just dig in a little bit further. We know Catholics, we don't just believe, but look how they kind of just, they write things so they can put the doubt already in your mind. Because why? The media is run by people who are not traditional, who are not followers of Jesus Christ. They don't want you to believe in Jesus. They don't want you to be saved. Satan wants you to lose your soul. That is his sole purpose. So you have to be careful when you go into reading anything related to Jesus, because if Satan and if Lucifer was kicked into this world with all of his demons, their sole job is to lie, to deceive, to destroy, to discredit. They hate us. They hate us. They hate that we are there. We are perfect, and they hate that we are true sons and daughters of the one true King. So he hates humanity, all right? So be careful with the words. You have to read the words with discernment, even when you do read the Bible, all right? So there are many stories about the Holy Eucharist confirming and the evidence of the Catholic dogma, because there were no other church. The Apostolic Catholic Church, it's the church of the disciples. Yes, there are tons of things inside of my church. I love it dearly, but my job is not to point my finger at their flaws or their imperfection, because at the end of the day, they're human like me and you. My job is to, one, follow the word of Jesus Christ and pray for them, not judge them and point my finger on them. Anyway, but you're not the only one. The miracle of Luciano happened during the 8th century. You can look up this information online. A priest, look at this. A priest in Luciano in Italy experienced doubts. Who's the one that inserts doubts in us? You know, it's a no-brainer. Satan does. About the real presence of Jesus Christ in the Holy Eucharist. In the middle of the Mass, of saying the Mass, he said the words of the consecration. He's saying, this is my body and this is my blood. Now, if you attend Mass, when you attend Mass every Sunday, every Saturday, because we are supposed to be going to church every day. There is no such thing as just one day of the week. We're supposed to go all the time. And saw the bread and wine transform into real human flesh and blood. This is right in front of him. This is during the 8th century. The blood coagulated into 5 bubbles, later believed to be representative of the 5 wounds of Jesus Christ. Word of the miracle quickly spread to the local archbishop, and he launched an investigation, and the church approved the miracle. Why? When they launch an investigation, it's not just 1 or 2 or 10 guys investigating a miracle like this. No, it's hundreds. I mean, hundreds of scientists, hundreds of labs, hundreds of people that don't want this information out. The flesh is still preserved to this day. The professor Odoardo Linoli conducted a scientific analysis of the flesh in 1971 and concluded that the flesh was a cardiac tissue. The blood appeared to be fresh blood, as opposed to the blood that was 120 years old. And there was no trace of preservatives. You can visit the miracle of the flesh and blood at the Church of San Francesco in Luciano in Italy. Explain that. Here go another one. Because we are so flawed and we're so consumed with sin, and our church is, surrounded by demons and surrounded by people that just want to discredit Jesus and all this religion, and even more so now than before. So another example of a Eucharistic miracle happened during the 13th century. A priest who had been experiencing doubts. Look, it's the same thing over and over and over again until now. We are filled and we are consumed with doubt. Doubt does not come from God. Whenever you're doubting your own or doubting the things pertaining to divine, it's not just your thoughts. You need to understand that Satan's primary job is to destroy anything and discredit Jesus Christ. About the change, the transubstantiation that was celebrating during the Mass in Italy again, Orvieto. Soon after he had consecrated the Eucharist, the host started bleeding onto the corporal, which is a cloth that we use in the altar during the Mass. The priest, the story goes, ran to the Pope who was visiting and confessed the sin of doubt. The corporal remains on display today in the same church. Some historians, however, doubt the veracity. Of course, they're gonna write this. They want to discredit anything related. But we'll go to another one. The host of Siena in the 18th century. August 14th, the Catholics of Siena was celebrating a special festival of the Feast of the Assumption. The thieves entered into a church of St. Francis and stole the host. Stole this where we put the host inside. So every church have a different one. Some has like a really, really big one. Others have a tiny one. It doesn't matter. They're placed at it. These are consecrated hosts. So 2 days later, someone noticed something was protruding from the offering box. They went in and they entangled whatever it was. It was full with dirt. And they tried to clean it as much as possible, because if you find the host, you're supposed to bring it to a priest. You're not supposed to throw it in the garbage. So they took it back to the church and they placed in a new ciborium and taken back to the church of St. Francis and pray of reparation and veneration. They're supposed to do a whole prayer on it, because you don't know what they've done to it, right? So since the host was dirty, the priest decided not to consume it and then let it deteriorate on its own. And for the next decades, everyone is still amazed to see that the host did not deteriorate, but actually appeared fresh. The host remains in the state today, 285 years later, and can still be seen in the Basilica of St. Francis. The miracle of Chiratakonan. Now, I have to say I did not know about this one. I had heard about it, but I didn't know it was in India. It took place in India in the 21st century in 2001. So the Eucharistic during adoration of St. Mary's inside of St. Mary's Parish was suddenly 3 red stains materialized on the host. The priest didn't know what to do and placed the host back into the tabernacle. A few days later, he retrieved the host to examine it, and the red stains had arranged themselves to look like the face of a man. He quickly found the photographer and had them take a picture of it. So then they know it's Jesus. They know that every Catholic take this knowing that is Jesus. Why they have to put Jesus with the question mark? Do you see what I'm saying? How Satan is just, it's so demonic. Like, so it's clearly Jesus Christ in the face of the host. Anyway, but they always want to discredit anything. And last but not least, the Eucharistic miracle of Santarém during the 13th century. A woman living in Santarém, Portugal, during the 13th century was worried about her husband being unfaithful to her. So she decided to consult a sorcerer. Now, everybody knows not to consult anything that's evil or any demonic spirits or demon or anything like that. for help. We're supposed to go solely to God himself whenever we are dealing with anything. Always go back to Job, read Job, because if you're dealing with stress, you go to Jesus. If you're dealing with financial problems, mental issues, relationship problems, you have nothing to worry about. You go to God. You go to your source. That is your high source. You don't consult anything, because that is not what Jesus wants from us, for us. That you're opening a portal to the demonic whenever you go to listen to this new age stuff, energy and mantra and all of this stuff. So please don't do that. So the sorcerer told her that the price for the service was to get a consecrated host. And we are seeing this madness going on right now. Again, I'm not sure if you guys can look up online. There was a video of this guy, this Muslim brother, went inside of the church, got the host from the priest's hand, and just walked outside of the mass. So this is used in demonic masses. It's called black mass. Look into that also if you guys want to see why are they always mocking the Catholic Church? Black mass. They imitate everything like it happens inside of the Catholic Church, but they do it in a demonic way. So they get menstrual blood from women, they get cross, they put it upside down, they get urine as the drink that they have to consume. And these people, they're practicing these things, they are possessed. They are not in their right mind. They are fully possessed. It is demonic. It's the Kabbalah. It's Satanism. It's demonology. There is a lot going on behind the scenes that we are not aware of, and we should. Everything that we do, we have to ask the Holy Spirit for help so we can see where we're going to, what are we paying attention to? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Does this really come from God? Anyway, so she went to the mass, to the church, and she received the Holy Spirit, the Holy Eucharist on her tongue, removed the Eucharist from her mouth, wrapped it in her veil, and headed to the door to the church. But before she got out, the host began to bleed. This is something that happened, all right? So when she got home, she put the blooded host in a trunk. That night, a light emanated from the trunk. She repented of what she had done, and the next morning she went to confess to her priest. The priest came and retrieved the host and took it back to the church. After the investigation and approval of the miracle, the church was renamed Church of the Holy Miracle, and the bloodied host still remain on display till this day. Now look at it. That's the host right there. And that's the church right there. And that's why we have the tabernacle. We have it inside of like a little cabin to keep it safe. Because there are people walking inside of our churches today trying to steal our most sacred thing, which is the blood of Jesus Christ. Please do your research, you guys. This information is online. This is part of our of everything that has to do with Jesus. This is his true body, his true blood. Like I said, they're not going to let you know about this. They're not going to advise you to look for the truth. They're always going to try to word things in a way where it's deceiving, where it can cause even more confusion, because that's exactly what the devil does. He's the liar. He doesn't want you finding out the truth. He doesn't want you to know that the kingdom of heaven is yours. We just have to believe in Jesus Christ. We just have to take all of our problems to Jesus Christ. He knows he can never inherit the kingdom anymore. He lost his chance. And now he wants us to follow him into the pits of hell. So that is why it's important to look into the history of our church. Go look into pictures of the churches in the first century. If you're not a Catholic and you have trouble accepting certain things in the Catholic Church, do a little Google search. Go to a library. Go back to the catacombs, because that is what's going to happen when persecution comes. This video I tried to put before on here on TikTok, I got muted after 1,000 views. They muted the video. Now why? Why is the church being persecuted? Has the church ever stopped being persecuted? That's the real question. Look at how many saints has had the wounds of Jesus. Padre Pio is like a major saint. Look into his history. Look at what he talks about, the three days of darkness. But pay attention to what's going on. Don't fall for this agenda that's so satanic, because these things they're still happening today. God is still here with us, but we have to start believing and taking the true church seriously. Anyway, so that's it, guys. Like, share, spread the video. I appreciate everybody. Take care.